Definitely recommend it for any transitioning military. You don't have to look for your dream job right away. If it's not there, take the time to get stable, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and then you can focus on starting something out 6 months down the road, a year down the road, whatever it may be.
Welcome to the 7 Eagle Group podcast, your home for inspiring stories, valuable tips, and great advice from hard-charging veterans so you can lead a more rewarding and lucrative post-military career.
All right. Hey, guys, it's Jordy from 7 Eagle Group. I got an amazing guest today. I'm super excited to talk to. He was a Green Beret medical operations manager in the Army. He went to Endicott College, where my daughter almost went there. That was her number 2 choice. So you were up my way here at Endicott, and did his master's in business admin at Penn State. And now he is the COO of a digital marketing company down in Nashville called the A Group. And he also is a brilliant financial strategist. He helps lots of business owners and individuals, spends a lot of time helping the military community, just helping people get out of debt, build massive wealth. Please welcome Jeff Learned in the house.
What's going on, Jordy? I appreciate it, man. It's a pretty good intro right there.
Got to add some enthusiasm to that intro. So anyway, no, I'm psyched to chat with you, Jeff, man. We met a couple weeks ago, and I was super impressed with you, and heard everyone's talking about this guy, Jeff. And I said, I got to meet him. I got to have him on the show. So excited for the conversation. So let's start out. Where'd you grow up? What made you, join the service? What was that decision process for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Massachusetts, about 45 minutes outside of Boston. Small blue collar town, into sports, football and baseball growing up. Played football at Endicott. So pretty active, traditional, small town lifestyle. My father was in the military, and that was just something that I looked up to, and my grandfathers were as well. But there was no pressure to join the military at all, which is why I went to college and played football. And I got a business management degree from Endicott and worked for 7 years in corporate America up there, between 2 different companies. So had a pretty traditional life up until about 27, 28 years old, when I decided to kind of pivot and join the military. So
what in the world made that decision for you? Why did you do that?
Yeah. So kind of just growing up, I was intrigued by, the special operations life, and, SEALs and Rangers and Green Berets and all those guys, and just that type of lifestyle, and more so what it really takes to be that way. And it was really kind of curiosity killed the cats, to kind of really just high level sum it up. But I wanted to see really what my potential was and what I could make of myself in that way. And, there's a certain cap where you can't do that anymore. There's a cutoff in age. And I dove in and decided to do that before that age came out, to see what was possible. And, they have a contract. It's called the 18 X-ray contract. It's straight from civilian into the Special Forces pipeline, the Green Beret pipeline. And that's what I did. So signed up in May of 2015, and I was off in July of 2015.
Oh my gosh. Were most of the other guys in like your class, were they like 18 years old, or were they?
It was a good mix. I would say it's about 50-50, maybe 60-40 18 X-ray guys. So guys that were doing the same thing that I was doing. But then the rest was like, my bunkmate was an 18-year-old National Guard kid. So it was a pretty dynamic atmosphere for sure.
That's very cool. So wait, do you have to pass a test to get into the 18 X-ray to have that option of going right into Special Forces?
Yeah, part of the interview process is really just understanding why and what your goals are. You have to pass a physical fitness test, of course, and then when you go to you go to basic training per everything else, and then you go to airborne school as a prerequisite. You have to be airborne qualified. After that, then you go up to North Carolina to start the pipeline.
Was that just incredibly difficult? I heard it's just a killer getting through.
It's a unique experience. It definitely didn't hold back on its challenges, that's for sure. But it was a blast, man. Like, you really get to know what you're made of and find
Yeah.
out if you're there for the right purposes. And you definitely they try to weed you out as best as possible, but if you're there for the right reasons, you can always make
You
it.
can
So
make it through, man. Oh man, good for you for enduring that and getting through. What was the rest of your military experience like? Did you have was it a positive one? Did you feel like it really set you up for when you left and made you who you are today?
yeah, I definitely provided the opportunity to see the potential that you can accomplish. Like
Yeah.
if there was ever a cap on someone, I think it's completely removed afterwards just because of what you have to endure, how you have to endure it, your bandwidth to absorb and decide under the amounts of stress. Really, just on the other side of it makes everything seem like not so big of a deal, and it comes from a capacity. Like I know now when I have like five things, six things going on in the same day, it doesn't really stress me out too bad
Yeah,
just because I know how to delegate and prioritize and handle those types of things. And we just had to do that on a much higher scale. So being able to do that for work and business, it's easy.
yeah, I'm sure it like gave you the confidence of like, Jesus, get out of my way, I can do anything. This is hard. This business is, yeah. I'm
I
sure
think
none of that compared.
I think the biggest thing was your I took away from that as my ability, I was confident in my ability to figure things out. I may not know the exact answer going in, but I didn't need to because I knew I was capable of figuring out. I think that's really the biggest thing that I realized. Like you're
Yeah,
thrown into situations for sure that either you're set up to fail or it's very challenging for a purpose to see how you would react and see what your
yeah,
decision making ability is all about. So if I can do that, my confidence to dive into business or specific situations on the business side of things, I know I can figure it out. It's not really an issue for me.
that's awesome. I love that attitude. It's tremendous. All right, so talk about now. All right, so you exited the military. What was that transition like for you? Did you know what you wanted to go? Did you know what was next, or did you sort of figure it out as you went?
Yeah, my goal primarily was to just get a good paying 9 to 5 job for stability purposes. So
Mhm.
once I decided to do the transition on the way out, I started the interview process as soon as I could. I didn't want any overlap from, time, exiting
Yeah,
time and till I find my first job. So I started as fast as I could looking, and I was fortunate. I reached back out to one of the companies I worked with before, and they had an opening, and I was able to get back on. So that provided a pretty seamless transition for me. But being a perpetual learner and the ability and to want to grow and whatnot, I started my own business consulting practice about a year later. And then it grew into adding the financial thing that we talked about over the last few weeks. So that's constantly evolving, and I'm kind of a perpetual learner, so that's always evolving. But
yeah,
that's really I was very fortunate to start off with an easy transition, getting stable with a good job and kind of letting the dust settle and just focusing on, getting my bills right, getting all that stuff squared away. I didn't have to worry about it. So
yeah,
definitely recommend it for any transitioning military. You don't have to look for your dream job right away. If it's not there, take the time to get stable, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and then you can focus on starting something out 6 months down the road, year down the road, whenever it may be.
yeah. That's good advice. What would you recommend to transitioning men and women who just they're not sure what they want to do next? Like, how do you figure that out? What would be that good first post-military job?
Yeah, I mean, kind of write down the things you like to do day to day, and then see what you is out there to see if you can match that. I think a lot of things too today, if you write down what you like to do every day versus what you actually do every day, there's a huge gap.
Yeah.
And that, trying to find the ability to close that gap and combine the two is, I think, really, really essential to finding a balanced and high
Yeah.
quality life. So if you have the ability to do that starting out, I mean, more power to you, good for you. I would definitely recommend in a worst case scenario, like, get your resume together, focus on what you what your skills are, what you like to do, and then get it, search for that job, try to get stable.
Yeah.
Get that stability before you and build that foundation before you try to make the next step.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about networking. Like, what are some of your favorite suggestions for folks to build a network as they're coming out and add value to those people, and then in return get value back and ask for help when needed and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think veterans have sometimes not a bad reputation. How do I phrase this? We do a bad job of networking because we like to just we know we can handle it. So we like to do things ourselves. Right. So, and we don't like to ask for help. It's completely different in the business world, right? Like when you're in the military and you're told to do something, you're supposed to just find a way to get it done. And take that when you get a job to be able to execute, you will be a rock star above everyone else. But don't rely solely on that capability. Build a network, talk to people. I would say the way I did it, I have a huge outreach on LinkedIn. I post articles. I just communicate. I reach out to people and they may or may not. That's the biggest thing, and do it digitally via LinkedIn, and also go to networking events. I went to one on Monday, and going there, I met 3 people that offered me the ability to attend 3 different ones.
Wow.
So that kind of spider web technique works, and your ability to get in front and talk to people and build relationships. Submitting a resume today is hit or miss, and it's mostly a miss because it's automated, and how they pick their jobs. There's an algorithm behind it now. You build a relationship with someone that lasts a lot longer, and that means a lot more.
Yeah.
So get out there and build relationships, go out and meet people, attend networking events. Even after you start your job or build your business, the only way you're going to be successful is build those things and ask for help when the time comes.
Yeah, that's great advice. There's a stat, 2% of jobs are filled by like applying on job boards, but 98% come about as a result of networking activities and doing it correctly, as you mentioned.
Sure.
I know you're an outstanding interviewee. So what are some of what suggestions you have for guys when they're in that, men and women, when they're in that interview setting, whether on Zoom or in person, that can really help them stand out and lead to offers for them?
Be authentic. Be yourself. If you go in with an agenda or try to match someone else's energy, they're gonna kind of tell you're faking it, or there's an agenda there, right? And you don't want there to be. Your agenda is to go interview, right, or be interviewed, but they're interviewing a person. They probably already saw your resume and they understand your skill set and what you could potentially bring. What do you bring as a person? The more authentic you are, the more true passion and energy you show, the more you're going to be liked, and they're going to want you around to pass that type of teachings and energy on to other people. That's really the biggest thing. I think the more you try to have a purpose or an agenda, the more that falls in your face.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk a little bit about now your career as a financial strategist, and specifically with folks leaving service. What are some of the things that they should be aware of financially to prepare themselves for a good career money wise?
From a military perspective, you've heard this a million times, and this is so true. If you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. And it's something that, I didn't really realize until you kind of dive in and understand how numbers are run, and understanding compound interest, and starting now and the dividends and pays down the road. Invest now, invest in your future, understand what that means. And a lot of, at the Miliari Group, where I, am a strategist for, we have full end-to-end opportunity, from CPAs and tax optimization to retirement strategies to business strategies, employee retention, whatever it is. There's plenty of opportunity to do that. I definitely take it upon you to research what you want to do and talk to someone. There's no obligation when you talk to me or anyone else, whether they're with, the Miliari Group or Charles Schwab, whatever. If you don't like what they hear, you don't have to buy it. But the thing is you need to start planning now. So when you're 55 and 65, you have the income, you have the free time and the ability and the bandwidth to enjoy your life. Don't be stressed and planning to retire 10 years before retire, because you're not going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sooner you can develop that plan and stick to it, you're going to be on easy street for the long term. That's
Right.
really the biggest thing. Start looking as soon as you can, and you feel like you're able. Definitely start planning on your future.
Yeah, there is no doubt, because I'm on the opposite side of that, where I'm talking to guys who are in their like 50s and 60s, and they didn't do that planning when they were 30 and 40, and they're still working. They're working their asses off and living paycheck to paycheck. And if you guys, anyone has any interest in learning more about the financial, getting yourself set up financially, just to get advice, reach out to Jeff. He's one of the best around at doing this. And like he said, a 5-10 minute conversation might open your eye, might present an opportunity for you that you didn't know about before. So knowledge is power there. Jeff, I can't thank you enough, man, for doing this. You gave some really great feedback. And would it be all right if anyone reaches out to you? We'll present your LinkedIn address here when we show this in the comments, and I'm sure you'd be willing to chat with anyone.
100%. Please, I definitely encourage you guys. I'd love to help you out in any way I can, talk to you. Just be a sounding board if you need be about your transition. Whatever help you need, I'm here.
Thank you, man. You are truly a incredible representative for this community. I truly appreciate everything you do for your military brothers and sisters to help them, and that means a lot to us here at Seven Eagle. So thank you. Thanks for
Appreciate the opportunity, Jordy. Thank you, guys.